Now, to continue here in Adobe Illustrator, we'll be working basically with just some very kind of basic shapes and elements for the first few exercises to kind of get moving forward with the visual contrast assignment. So basically with the type tool, we'll be working essentially with as will be pointed out in the assignment, we'll be working when we're working or dealing with type specifically and looking at type contrasts. We'll be working with a kind of a more modern typeface. This is denoted as a sans serif typeface, and we'll be also working with a more kind of classic typeface as well. So. And I'm just going to go ahead quickly here and just try to find maybe a more classic typeface. Yeah, this is actually Perpetua. It's kind of a traditional Roman typeface, and then also I have on my left here Helvetica. I'm just going to kind of zoom in a little bit more so we can kind of see these two typefaces. So essentially, as is specified in the project, we'll be working specifically with a serif on the right hand side and the sans serif on the left hand side. Just a little bit of a quick note about these two typefaces. The typeface on the right is kind of distinguished as a serif typeface, and it's a kind of a categorized more as a kind of a classic Roman style typeface, and so the serif is sort of like denoted, by the if you will, these little kind of shapes, if you will, that sort of like extend, almost sort of like covering up the serifs here with a different shape. Are these terminals, if you will, that sort of like extend off the ends of the letter form, and so the origination of this typeface is from obviously from the Trajan's columns in Rome, and so the letter form would be created by hand by a stonemason who would actually chisel into the facade of architecture to create this sort of like monumental letter form. And it was really kind of a easy way for the stonemason with a chisel to be able to kind of finish off the letter form by kind of creating these sort of like extensions, these extended terminals from the form, from the letter form. And so this was, in fact, sort of like the beginning of, or the birth of, the serif typeface. Beginning in the in the late 1800s and the early 1900s, specifically in Germany, in Switzerland, there was a sort of like a move towards creating a simpler, more modern, if you will, typeface. And so developments had begun to essentially take away the serifs to create a more kind of geometric letter form. Of course, Helvetica is sort of like a derivative, if you will, of earlier typefaces such as Accidens, Grotesque, and other typefaces that were developed in mostly Germany and Switzerland in the early to beginning in the 1900s, and then this particular typeface, Helvetica, was developed in the 1950s in Switzerland, and as we know it today, it's a very ubiquitous typeface, very popular and well-known typeface. That became sort of like the modernist kind of font, sort of like a contemporary font. So again, there's a kind of and so because it's classified as a sans serif, sans meaning none or no, it essentially has no serifs that are built into the letter form. So then it sort of like takes on that characterization as a sans serif, and then the Perpetua on the right-hand side is denoted as or characterized as a serif typeface. So essentially you can see that these two typefaces, one being a serif and one a sans serif, already create a contrast. So we'll be utilizing these two categories of type as we develop our visual contrast studies. Thank you very much.